Hey everybody, welcome back once again to another exciting episode of Jurassic Park Builder, where we have an expedition that's gotten back with nothing, and yeah, so exciting times. Oh man, okay, well, you know what, today actually it is kind of exciting because for the first time in a long time we are adding a new mammal to the park, and we'll get to him here in a second. But first, the Big Chill, got that going on. Lots of outdoor hockey this month and next month, and certainly here in Glacier Park, we got that going on too. So that's cool. But this is the prize feature edition. It is Doticurus, meaning pestle tail. What that was actually used for was much like, you know, you're probably looking at it and he's like, well, that kind of reminds me of a Stegosaurus. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what Doticurus would use it for, warding off enemies and doing the business like that, pretty much. If you'll notice, now that he's a little more evolved, you can see his back is like arching up a lot. Really, compared to the actual fossils, they didn't do the best job in Jurassic Park Builder trying to reflect the storage ability of Doticurus, because his shell wasn't like a total circle, you know. It was more like a domed area. It was like an arch, kind of like a camel, but he could store energy in there, so that was cool. And I'm just looking, I just want to make sure that yeah, we still don't have the ability to remove that piece of land, so that stinks, but oh well, what are you gonna do, you know? So Doticurus, I say that he had like a little arch, like a camel. Well, he would store energy in there, basically. Energy meaning protein, maybe water, we don't know. But you know, that is another exciting fun fact that you learn here in Jurassic Park Builder as we level up one of our favorite carnivorous birds here in the park. So we will just go ahead and get working on that. Yeah, you know what? Actually, if I don't get anything here this time, yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and just leave that on hold. I'll do that off screen because I don't want to spend today like just trapped in Glacier Park. That would be a little unproductive, you know. So let's go ahead and go to the aquatic park. So what is going on in the wonderful world of paleontology? Well, some big news, big news in the field coming from where else but Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, not the first place that you think of when you think of finding fossils, considering they have found 0 to date. But all that's changed starting now, because last month, I believe, or the other day, or 2 months ago, who the hell knows, I'm just getting this info now. You know, a vertebrae of a Tyrannosaurus and a few teeth from a carnivore were actually found in Saudi Arabia. Now, could that have just been like some airplane shipment fossils from like China that just like I don't know, leaked out across Saudi Arabia and you know, just fell to the ground? Maybe, but probably not, because they were found because of an oil expedition that said, hey, you know, we found these marine fossils that we'd like you to come out and take a look at. The oil people told the scientist, and so the scientists came out, and lo and behold, as we evolve our Moliosaurus, I think we're going to, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. They found a fossil, from a dino. They also found a tooth from a dino. So a tooth and a fossil. Fossil and a tooth. Pretty much the same thing. Pretty much the same thing, right? But yeah, you know, I mean, it's cool that they found it because now this opens up, you know, Saudi Arabia to possibly knowing where fossils are in Saudi Arabia and going after those fossils. Now, it's important to note, right, that these aren't new dinos. They are just fossils of dinosaurs that have already been discovered, that are being found now in Saudi Arabia. So, like I said, this opens up the idea that we could be on the verge of finding a new fossil field with lots and lots of new dinos in a new country. So that's pretty exciting, you know? It is. It's really, really exciting. So now that we are finally back in the regular park, you know, some of these story things, I think that they are a little behind the times, so to speak. I think that this is the kind of stuff that actually we should have saw before Glacier Park came out. But we obviously did not. So we'll go ahead and just kind of go through and take care of some of our stuff that's out here. We placed this not too long ago. We actually got this through Tapjoy, and it was $55, but we only did 2 offers, and we were able to do that. So that's pretty good. You gotta look out for those big time deals, because I think one of the offers was like $24, and all I had to do was download an app, and that's how you get the good stuff like that. So just a little tip, you know, just a little tip, as Alan Grant thanks us for putting down his little sundial that I'm sure he's been waiting a long time for, and now he's going to resign. So, so that's good. That's good. You know, thanks a lot, Alan. We go to all that work to do that, and now you want us to collect 2 million coins and 8 fountains? Ah, what a jerk. You know, what a jerk. Jeez. Well, we are on our way, and speaking of jerks, great segue, right? Speaking of jerks, there's a new movie coming out. That just premiered at the Sundance Film Festival called Dinosaur 13. Dinosaur 13. Now, you're asking yourself, what the hell, right? If you know nothing about this, is Dinosaur 13? Well, it's a documentary. It's a documentary. It's not really a documentary, but they're saying it's a documentary. So, this quote-unquote documentary goes inside the life of Peter Larson, who works for BHI, which is a commercial fossil hunter company. Okay, these are the guys who are not associated with scientists, really. Or they are rogue scientists that want to make a big profit. And that's not really what paleontology is about. Yet they think it is. So this documentary follows the company of BHI as they go on a dig and find a fossil that is just magnanimous, really, in every sense of the word. And that dinosaur turns out to be Sue, the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex found to date that currently resides in the Field Museum in Chicago. Well, this documentary, Dinosaur 13, paints Peter Larson as a fossil dealer who makes a quote-unquote good investment, and really, it was just a dishonest thing that happened to a man named Maurice Williams, who owned the property that Sue was found on. Now, long story short, right, legal details aside, I want you to put yourself in the position of the man who was being paid for this T-Rex, not knowing not knowing that it was a T-Rex, right? Now one morning, you wake up out of bed, and you go to your door, and you find that there is a man there, and we'll say his late 20s, and he has a check for $5,000 for you. And he says, "Here you go, sir. You know, this is for our find that we found. Thank you very much." And you gave these people permission to dig on your land, etc. And the check says, in the notes section, that it was for a theropod that they found on your land. Now, if I was Maurice Williams, I would be pretty happy, you know? Say, "Hey, thanks a lot, good sir. You know, you just tore up my yard and you paid me $5,000. That should be enough to to replace the damage that you did, right?" No. But point being, I mean, he was told that it was a theropod. Now, if you're somebody who's not in the field of paleontology, you probably don't know what the hell a theropod is. And they didn't really take the time to explain it to him. And they didn't even tell him exactly what it was. They didn't give him the full details. They didn't say, "This is the most complete Tyrannosaurus Rex that we've ever found to date." They just said, "It was a theropod. Here you go." You know? I mean, if you were in his shoes, and if you knew that it was a T-Rex, you certainly would not accept $5,000 for it, because you know that these guys are out for profit. They are looking for money, and they just screwed you. They dug up your land and they gave you $5,000, and at the end of the day, you might be able to buy a root beer, and that's it. That's it. If I was Maurice Williams, I would certainly be pissed off. Yet, you know, and he got what was his in the end. Maurice Williams was awarded Sue, and Sue went to auction, and Sue sold for $8 million, which would, with inflation, would be well over $13 million today. But that's not the point. This documentary, Dinosaur 13, it focuses on the guys who screwed Maurice Williams out of this knowledge, out of the idea of what they found. It was just complete dishonesty all around, and that's why the company was raided by the FBI, I believe. And you know, this documentary just focuses on what it was like to be on that dig team and find out that, you know, oh, you screwed this man out of knowing what was actually on his land and on his property. And I am just flabbergasted by this, that they would, you know, that Lionsgate and CNN International, who actually bought this film, support telling the story from this point of view, because it just seems absurd. It's like okay, you know what it's like? It's like if somebody wanted to tell the story of Aladdin through the eyes of Jafar. That's sort of I mean, honestly, that's kind of sort of what not trying to tie this into the Saudi Arabia story from earlier, but that's kind of seriously what this is about. It's just telling a story from the wrong point of view. Now what Dinosaur 13 should have probably focused on was you know, maybe a reenactment of the actual story and how Maurice Williams was screwed out of this money. But no, instead they said, "Oh, here we found all this footage from the raids on our facilities and all the dig stuff, and it's just wrong." You know, seriously, it is. It's just wrong that they would focus on that aspect of the story. Granted, the discovery of the dinosaur is just, it's awesome. It is an awesome experience, and I understand that. But the real matter here is the dishonesty. And I think that would have made for a much better story, whether it was scripted and not a documentary, rather than this. Because this is just awful. And I actually read that when they screened Dinosaur 13, that Maurice Williams actually made an appearance in the film, and he got hissed at when they showed his picture, and that is just unbelievable. You know, again, going back to the Aladdin thing, it's like Aladdin comes up on the screen and they're hissing Aladdin. It's like, no, okay, that's not gonna happen. And Robin Williams pops out of Genie's skull and, you know, slaps some people in the face. I don't know, but seriously, don't you think that is just unfreaking believable? I sure as hell do, and maybe I'm the only one. You know, maybe I'm the only one, but I just think that this movie is not something that you should take too much stock in when it comes to facts, because they certainly blew it out of proportion when it comes to the villainy factor, and they portray the government as like the villain when it's actually the company who screwed Maurice Williams out of this knowledge of what was found on his land and the fossil itself. So as far as I'm concerned, they got what was coming to them, and thankfully Sue is safe and sound in the Field Museum. So at the end of the day, it's all good, but back then it wasn't so certain.